Hey, Church Without Walls, Pastor Joel here. And I know I look like I don't know, directing a flight or, I don't know, getting a NASCAR ready or something with my headset on, but this is the best I could find to record this video for you tonight. I'm here in Denver. We just got here today. This is Saturday night, and we had a beautiful drive here, safe and sound. The traffic is what the traffic is, but other than that, we're here. First thing we did, we got to the hospital, reunited Malachi with his bride, and he got a chance to see baby Delilah, and of course she's a doll. She's the most adorable baby in the world, and we can put that to the test if we need to. But anyway, I just want you to know we're here. You're seeing this on Sunday night. We would normally be meeting right now, and I want you to know that we do miss you. And thank you so much for being understanding about us not being there and not having church services tonight. We appreciate the ability to do that, and um, know that we don't try to make a habit of this. We're not just always looking for ways to cancel, times to cancel services, because we do miss it so much. We miss you so much, and we miss the time together. And so know that we're not gonna cancel services unless we just absolutely have to. And this is one of those situations where we felt like we needed to. But I do want to just share something that God laid on my heart this week. And matter of fact, it's a story I wanted to share with you. This past week, I was working a lot in the evenings at sporting events, and as you know, I work part time for the city, and I'm grateful that I have these jobs, but sometimes I feel like they interfere with my church work and my ministry. And this happened this week when a family in our church, their car broke down, and they needed help getting their car just back to their house. And so they were called kind of looking for a tow dolly or a chain or something that that we could use to get their car back. And I was, I felt a little stuck because here I was working one job and really couldn't give my full attention to this family in need. And to be honest, it was frustrating. Now, again, I'm grateful for the different things that God has provided so I can provide for my family, but you need to know that there's often times that I feel like those things are burdens. I think they sometimes they hinder me from serving like I could. And I think, man, if I was just a full time pastor, I could serve better, I could minister better, I could love better. And that's kind of where I was. This family was in need. I was stuck. Ronnie couldn't help because she was working too, and our hands felt tied. And I felt like I wasn't loving as well as I could. Well, we ended up just calling a tow truck, and I thought this would be the easiest solution. The church can pay for it with their benevolence funds, and we could just get the tow truck. That'll get the car back home safely, and that's kind of the easiest way. And of course, it wasn't that easy because trying to find a tow truck there, some were already out, other places. Some were hard to get a hold of because it was after hours, and it was somewhat difficult. And so that was frustrating too because I was like, we could have already gotten the car home before a tow truck's even available, right? But nonetheless, it was maybe an hour to maybe an hour and a half later that I got a call from the tow truck company that said, "Hey, I'm ready. I'm headed over there to pick up the car." And I said, "Okay, I'm going to let the family know so they can meet you there." And I said, "Hey, when you get the car taken care of, please call me so I can give you the credit card information, debit card information, and so we can kind of settle up." And the tow truck guy said, "Yeah, we'll do it." And of course, time went by and I didn't hear anything. I just assumed things were going well, and they were. And the games that I was supervising kind of came to a close, and the people had left the gym, and I was turning out the lights and kind of getting ready to close up shop. And I got a phone call from the tow truck company, and he said, "Hey, just want you to know that we got the cars back to the family's home. Everything's good. You know, everything's fine, and we're all set." I was like, "Oh, perfect. Thank you so much for it's cold out, and just thank you for helping us out and helping that family out." And I said, let me get my debit card information, and I'll give that to you." And he stopped me. He said, "No." He said, "No." He said, "There's no need." He said, "Something's telling me that I just need to let this one go. Something's telling me that I just I just don't need to charge for this one, so I'm not going to. And of course, I was like, oh no, that's ridiculous. No, we can pay for it. That's not our problem, and we'll be glad to pay for it. And let me just give you the credit card. And he's like, no, I insist. He said, you know, I don't do this a lot, but in this case, you need to know that we're settled up. I'm not going to charge you anything. And of course, I was blown away, and I thanked him profusely and told him that I would be sure to continue to use his service in the future, which I always have. We've always called him from the first time we've ever needed a tow truck. I've always called this company, and he appreciated that, and we hung up, and in the darkness of the gym, and everybody was gone, and I was sitting down, and I just began to weep. I just began to cry. And the reason I started to cry was because God spoke very specifically to me, church. He said, I one-upped you. He said, yeah. He said, you're grumbling, you're complaining about how you don't feel like you're loving your people well enough and you're not doing a good job. He said, you got all this, you're feeling so sorry and so frustrated. He said, Joel, you need to know you can't love your people as well as I can. I will always outlove your people. I will always love them better. I will always provide for them more than you could ever provide for them. I will always provide for them more than your church can provide for them because I love them more than you do. And I just showed you. I just showed you. Well, he didn't stop there. He carried on. He said, you know, you need to remember this as you go to Denver. You need to remember that I love Delilah May more than you do. I love Delilah May more than Jenny and Malika do, more than the doctors do. He said, you know what? He said, if I can do this for this family, think of the great things I'm going to do for her. Think of the great things I'm going to do for her. So I share that with you folks to let you know that in my moments of weakness when I break down and I feel like I'm failing you, I know you don't feel that way about me. I know that you've communicated that you understand and you get it and you know that I need to do things to provide for my family. But know that I love you, but know that God loves you more. God loves you more. And He's going to be able to provide for you and your family, whatever your situation is. He's going to be able to do a lot better job providing for you than I can, than our whole church can. So we need to rely upon Him. I need to rely upon Him. Again, this isn't my church. This is His church. And I need to trust and rest in the fact that He loves you more than I ever could. I also want to say this because starting next week, Lord willing, we're going to begin a new sermon series about biblical parenting. And one of the concepts you need to understand about biblical parenting is God loves your children more than you do. God loves your children more than you do. Therefore, God can provide more for your children than you can. God cares about their needs more than you do. And that's hard to hear because you want to think that sometimes you're the only one you want to be the only one in the world that can care for your child's needs. And since that can't happen, since you're not always able to meet all their needs, you feel frustrated too. You feel like, well, if I didn't have to work, or if I didn't have this going on in my life, or if that wasn't going on in my life, then I could be a better parent. I could love my children more. And God says, you can't love your children more than me. And He has lined out how to parent, how to raise children in His Word. And so we're going to take several weeks and we're going to really break apart what does the Bible say about parenting versus what does the world say about parenting, right? Does this old book that was written to a different people in a different time, is it still relevant to today? Does it are there is there anything in the world that matches up? Is there anything that the world is telling us different that we need to listen to versus what the Bible is saying? We're going to take time to explore all that. If you're not a parent, you're probably a aunt, an uncle, a grandparent. Maybe you're parenting adult children. Maybe you're got teenagers. Maybe you got babies. This biblical parenting series will have something for everyone. So I really encourage you now. Begin inviting some friends. Talk to some friends. Talk to some parent friends. Some people that you know that are maybe in the same life stage as you. Maybe your kids go to school together and such, and let them know, hey, our church is going to be talking about biblical parenting. Ask them, do you have any struggles parenting? Wouldn't you like to know that there's a plan, that there's instructions, very explicit on how that we should be parenting the children that God loves more than we do and has given us for such a time as this to parent, to raise, so that we can give them back to Him and they can be sent out. I'm super excited about the study, and I hope you are too. Again, this will start Wednesday night. Lord willing, we're able to come home on Friday like we plan on it, and to be able to meet Sunday at night for our study. Lastly, I just want to thank you for your prayers. It's going to be a hard week. We know that. But I personally am reassured by God, knowing that He loves Delilah May more than I ever could, more than the doctors do, and He's going to take care of her. He's going to do some great things in her life this week, and in our lives too. And so thank you for your prayers. We miss you. We love you the best we can. We acknowledge that God loves you more. We can't wait to be back together with you again. Give us a call if you need anything. If anything, we can pray for you and pray with you about what's going on in your life. We'd still love to hear that. You're not bothering us just because we're here. Okay? Have a great week, Church Without Walls. We love you. We'll talk to you later, and you are sent.